Charting the Journey by Charlene Williams. So this was block course, and my brain and all the information that I received during block course. So this was the beginning formations of QPs and what they could look like, what I could focus on, and just really starting the mapping out phase. I didn't really know what I wanted to focus on, but it started me thinking about having conversations with my colleagues. Then the conversation, this is what I thought would be my QPs. And then I started having conversations with my peers, and this supported changing my focus and taking in what they had to say and listening to their ideas. Then I started having wider conversations with my colleagues about transitions and discussions about what was happening in my work now. So my transition, this is a transition reflection after PLD, transition and the transition review HUIs, EI's plan introduction and what this would look like, the next step in IEP HUI, support for whānau with understanding who is attending, and the ministry resources. Then my focus started, my lens expanded to school-wide approaches to using visual sign language, teach the whole class, a school-wide approach. The interactive schedule, whole class takes turn to put expectation up. How can we make this more inclusive? And then the network supports gaps, build upon the strengths, task lists of all difficult tasks. You'd not last long if you focused on the difficulties. When a strength-based lens is applied, we all thrive. That is something that I just came up with. Then I thought about the SMART goals that are included in the EIS documentation from the government. So maybe I could apply this to my QPs, be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Goals, attainments, and scales. Then I was exploring the New Zealand curriculum. I was exploring the RTLB service and EIS handovers, the national consistency, government and NGOs, the 2-year agreement, service agreements, more details regarding RTLBs, and I sought that information from RTLBs. And then I had professional conversations regarding the different lenses of government versus field work, needing the numbers to inform performance of the EIS rollout, and the impacts that this has on schools. And the main conversation was around how can we make sure the government plan that is required to gather data is not taking over the IEP development from schools, and how schools can retain their mana in this area and how I can advocate for that. So through these conversations, themes started appearing, and I thought to myself, well, how about doing QPs around what I am already doing and how I'm already stretched. So that was the EIS rollout, because I'm mainly working in schools this year. So the QP's focus changed to transitions in the EIS space, planning and partnering with whānau in schools, and whānau-centred practice, supporting whānau and mokopuna and making sure that these are centred. And also the focus started to change towards how I coach and how I ensure that the coaching practices within schools are mana enhancing. So coaching became a focus. Co-designing, and there's the coaching. Mana enhancing coaching in classrooms with school teachers, tutua papa, he pukuroa, and adult capability building. And then I started thinking how it's important that we have sustainable practices that are universal in the tutua papa tier, and how our coaching in the EIS role can support teachers to implement the same strategies for a whole school approach. So it's more sustainable, and long after the EIS service is gone, these practices should continue. And then I had discussions about the importance of this in such a vast, huge geographical area, and how this is an important focus for us. Then there's some more mind mapping, notes and reflections, co-designing with network partners, identifying who these are, the LSEs, RTLBs, SENCOs. Also, there's the service manager, my centre of practice, my direct working team, whānau, of course, being first and foremost, and tamariki. So this is some more mapping, working flexibility and responsive practice that meets the needs of individuals, parents and whānaus, he pukuroa in action, the LDSM, and how the QPs will be guided by these documents, the sharing of data, creating a connectedness between whānau ECE and school, and versus the typical transition to a Hui network, and what this looks like now under EIS. I had teams Hui discussions, or a plan for discussions, where my service manager supported me to look a bit more into the community, and then explore a story outside our immediate work context, valued practice. So then I went on to community-based practice. And this was more mapping, network practice, what my brain looked at, its systems and network systems, and how I would start their portfolio. So, and a lot of these papers have things on the back as well, but we're not going to look at that today. So welcome to Charting the Journey.